Welcome to At the Table.
This is our first live podcast where we're together in the same place. We are in Serenbe, Georgia.
We're obsessed.
Which is actually in like the
Chattahoochee
Hills. I was going to say Chattanooga, but I think it's Tennessee.
That is Tennessee. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm pretty good at geography.
It's very beautiful here. Great community. We are going to plan for the future to have a retreat here. So when did we start Innate Women?
Okay, so Innate Women's origin story. Innate Women might seem new because we're now like posting.
Yeah.
But we've been around for a while.
Years.
This really comes out of friendship. So when a little back, so if you heard some of the other podcasts, you know that like my family had an office. And when I went off to school, Skylar was hired by my mom. And I didn't know her at the time because you had graduated literally the exact same time that I went to school.
We were ships in the night.
Absolutely.
When it came to being in the office. Yeah.
Yeah. And so when, and you just blended in really well with my family and became good friends with my mom.
She's like a second mom to me.
Oh,
yeah, I would say.
Skylar's still in our group chat.
I'm in the family chat. Yeah.
Yeah. And you left like 5 years ago.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. And so she's always welcome back in our family at all times and like a part of it. But once we like met immediately, we were like, oh,
we're friends.
We're friends. Yeah. Actually, I remember Skylar was like,
Megan hates me, but it was not because of you. It was because of the stories people were telling me.
I think people thought two achieving women can't be friends. That's actually where I came from this because I feel like I'm a strong personality, but so are you. Yeah. But I also have a theory that people pit strong women against each other or like achieving based women against each other, women that are making moves in the world. But in reality, what I've noticed is that women actually, those kind of women always find each other as friends.
I would say, yeah.
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 Because you're going to be attracted to
unless you have conflicting values.
Yeah. But if you're similar, you're
like
going to
attracts like.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I think it's all a myth. Like the idea that women don't like each other.
I think it is a myth. But back then I was being told a story that Megan was not going to like me for whatever reason.
Which is funny because don't you think I like most people I meet them?
Yeah.
Like I don't dislike people unless they have an action that makes me dislike them. Yeah. But if you do an action that I don't like, then you are dead to me.
I think that's fair.
I think it's fair. But then when we did meet, I feel like it was like kindred spirits.
Yeah. I felt like it was very easy for us to, when you meet someone and you're like, oh, okay, whether it's like romantic partner or a friendship, you're like, this is really easy. We have a lot in common. It's easy to have a conversation. Like it was very much like that.
Yeah. And then we were working together in the office for a little bit, right when the pandemic hit. And it was like exciting times. And we really had like good energy.
It was interesting times.
I
don't know if it was exciting.
Well, not in a positive way per se.
That's
it was
true.
Just like there was so much going on.
Actually, I do think that was a big time of growth for us.
And there was like energy. And I feel like what happened as a business owner during 2020, which we can do a whole nother topic on it. I think just at the time, you had two options. You were like, I'm going to do whatever it takes to keep my business open. And of course, this is, and some people were forced. Like there were some states that are like, you have to close. Yeah. Like we know some people who had to close their clinic. We were like, okay, what do we have to do to stay open and to still have community for people in some of the loneliest times?
Yeah.
So that's what we focused on. And so we
actually,
over that.
The office grew during that time. Yeah.
Yeah. The office did really well during that time.
Honestly, I think we grew personally because I think we took that opportunity, even though it was like a dark one, and turned it into something better. We all got healthier. We all got more fit.
Oh yeah. During
we were
that time,
very disciplined.
We did 75 hard.
We did it.
Yeah.
we actually did it.
Actually, 75 hard was the best time to do during that time.
There's nothing else to do.
There was nothing else to do.
It was a great thing to keep you focused and like make you feel like you're like achieving something. I still really like that program. Do I feel like I need to do it again? It's hard for me because once I do a challenge, I'm like, oh, I did it. Like, I already know I can do it. But for other people, like if you've never done it, it's a great one.
It's a good one. Very discipline more than
doable.
Anything. Yeah. It teaches discipline. And I feel like we also were like creative and we stepped into leadership roles at that time. That was the time we were like, if we're going to be leaders, now's the time. What do we have? What do we take to make ourselves our best? And like we did it.
But I think that's the year we incorporated Innate Women.
Yeah. And so there were two distinct things in our friendship that I remember with Innate Women coming. One was like pretty soon, like I was actually home from school and you were like, hey, do you want to be best friends?
Yeah.
And I was like, Okay.
Sure.
You manifested it.
Yeah.
And then the second thing is, I remember you're like, let's have a business together. So Skylar was like, I'm in love and leaving. And then
I'm going to go get married.
Yeah.
And move to the Midwest.
I moved to the Midwest. And then you were like, let's start a business together because we have to have a business together.
Yeah.
We didn't have a vision. We had like a little bit of one, but like it's changed a lot. And I think it
so
was
these
very
are
like
the
impromptu.
things we always knew.
Yeah.
We always knew we were going to work together in some business capacity. And we always knew that it was going to circle around supporting women. What we didn't know is how it was going to look. Would you say that's fair?
Yeah, because we were very impulsive on it. We were just like,
Yeah.
we know we have to have this business and we know we have to support women.
Yeah.
And then at the times in our life, because both of us were in relationships, you were moving for a relationship.
Mhm.
My husband had earlier moved to, Delaware and had proposed. So like we were in these times of our lives and we were like, let's make it about fertility and women.
Pregnancy
and
prep. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And also that is kind of who we were surrounded with at the time. Well, we're still surrounded.
Yeah.
We see a lot of
serve
pregnant women. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we were like, yeah, it's familiar to us. We know a lot about this subject. We're passionate about women's health. So So I think obviously we've made a pivot since then. We're not fully focused on.
We're not doing that now.
Pregnancy.
No. Well, there's things that happen. So for full transparency, which we'll probably do a podcast on this in the future. So I really struggled with infertility. So when we started this, I didn't know that we would struggle with that because I haven't been married yet. And we get married and then.
And you're a pure woman.
And what?
You haven't been married yet.
I have not been married. And then as soon as we got married, we were like, let's have a baby.
Yeah.
And so then we started trying and then it has not worked out. And it's a story for another time. Just know you were very seen. Mm-hmm. But when you're going through it, like, I just don't think I could ever give 110% into a business around something I was struggling with.
And it's so hard emotionally just to deal with that. And then my husband and I also, a couple years later, struggled with infertility as well. So it's like, then both of us were like, this is a little too touchy, too close to home for us right now. Not that we don't have compassion for those women, but it wasn't something that we felt like.
I think it's self-cruelty.
Yeah. It was almost like, was it masochistic?
Yeah. To be like, let me talk about this and help women and then
secretly like really suffer with this behind closed doors. Yeah.
And at the time, like I wasn't also willing to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's another topic. I think we will do one. Cause also like, there's also a lot of misinformation around fertility. And so like, there's a lot of shame. Like if you struggle with infertility, it must be because you're lacking something in your health.
There's something wrong with you.
Yeah. There's something wrong with you. And what we find time and time again, because we do work with people, women in our practices, and I have a lot of women who are trying to conceive, and some women, it really is, you just need to prep and get healthy. But there's plenty of women who aren't on the highest health scale that are getting pregnant. So there's other complicating factors, especially like environmental, that are out of a lot of women's control or just things not being identified. And they just need some support in their bodies. And we don't have a medical system that supports them.
Yeah.
And so that's a conversation like at the time I just couldn't have and understand or even understood at the time, because I was definitely going through like for a while, like it's my fault. There's something wrong with me. So that's another time.
I'm sure a lot of people have felt that.
Yes. And so
probably everyone at some point in their life.
Yes.
Whether it was fertility or not.
Well, with health. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I feel like innate women just went dormant after that. Cause I remember I called you like, I just can't give it like 110%.
Yeah. And I was like, I can't do it by myself.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah. So we kind of like put a pin in it.
And
so she just kind of like hung out for a little while.
She's always been there.
She's always been there. I think for a little while, like while Cricket was like a baby and you guys were really growing your practice in Delaware, we kind of both just like focused on what was in front of us, like physically our business is there. And then when was it like that we were like, she needs to come back?
I think it was like last year. There's a couple things that happened that jump started it. One is the event we're holding called the Catalyst and where that came from. And the other, I feel like we just had a stirring about it. Like, I feel like over the summer we were like, we need to do something with this.
Well, I think what it was, there's always been this like undercurrent of we need to do something. Like we are very creative people. We need to create something together. Like it needs to happen. I feel this push.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that?
Okay. So speaking on like creativity, I think this is a great topic. There is this creativity in people. And as humans, I think a base of our soul is to be creative, to create in this world. We are all put here to create things in different avenues. And sometimes like when you say create, people think art, but I think creating a business and creating
Beautiful
communities.
home
Of,
could be
yes, absolutely. There's so many ways to create in your life, but I believe that that's our job is to, when we feel a pulling towards something and be like, okay, we have to grow here. And so we get to create that and make something ultimately out of nothing through inspiration. And so for us, we were like, what does it always come back to? And I think personal growth is in every, like, if you look back on our stuff with even fertility, and
it was in there.
It was a mindset. It was a huge part. Also, like as you grow as leaders, as you like, I always say never get out of life unscathed, but like how you show up during those hard times can make your life absolutely extraordinary. And so this mindset, and you even said to me yesterday, we were at a seminar, and Skylar, she started a business from scratch in the last couple of years. And then yesterday when you were like, I was like, what's the difference between when you felt like you were struggling and then this past year when you were thriving? And you were like,
it was mindset shift.
Literally. Because you did all this stuff the same.
Yeah. There was literally no change other than like a switch in my brain.
And then for me, like thinking about like what I'm seeing at this point in my life is how many women were told this is the path. Like we're a millennial. So it's like, here's the path that you take. And you hear about the millennial crisis, but it's like, here's the path you have to take in life. We've all taken that. We went to undergrad. We got our student loans, first ones in the family, all the fun stuff, go on to grad school, had a great career or have a great career. And you go, am I fulfilled?
Yeah.
And I feel like for many women, it's like, well, no, there's something missing. And I think it's because life isn't aligned.
100%.
And so Innate Women is moving towards how do we live an aligned life? Or I should say Innate Women is moving towards helping women live an aligned life. And the other thing is we need more adventure in our life.
I would say most people live their life when it comes to adventure, seeing other people, especially since so much is on social media. We see people doing things. We don't know. And we're like, wow, that looks amazing. I wish I could do that, but I could. Like, I can't do that.
Yeah, I have too many responsibilities. Not in shape enough. Not, like there's always a limiting thing. But then I think when you see other people do it, you can feel inspired and motivated. And our husbands got called to do something.
Yeah. So they did an adventure summit. So it was all men, which was a cool experience for them. And they were doing 40. They were originally supposed to go from one side of the Grand Canyon to the other and back again. But this past year with all the fires, they had to pivot. So they did this crazy hike on like, when our husbands came back and told us about it, we were like, thank God no one died.
Yeah. They were like, I was like, thank God you were safe, because I thought you were doing a different trail. And then they had to pivot through all that.
But regardless, so they were in the canyon for like 20 hours, 40 some miles. And both of them came back and they were like, it was amazing. And not just amazing because the Grand Canyon is absolutely stunning and it was a beautiful hike. It was amazing because it was hard. Like very hard. And they pushed through and they finished.
And they also spent months training for it.
Yes.
So there's a lot of work that went into it. They did something hard. And just like the achievement aspect of like the proudness they felt of themselves and that energy and that spirit. And then we asked the person who created it, I was like, oh, was there a woman one? And they were like, no. And we were like, okay, we're going to create this.
So we were like, women need this. Women need this too.
But it's not identical to going and doing 42 miles in the canyon.
We don't want to do that.
Not 42. Not 42. More what we wanted was mindset mixed with the physical proof that you're capable. And so what Innate Women has evolved to is taking this, wanting to work with these women who want an aligned life and still have wild success, but one that aligns with their soul purpose. And then doing that through connection with other women, a community. We are living in a society that is lonelier than ever. And adding an adventure. So what the future looks like for us is going to be more community events. And so that includes our Thursday once a month pop-ups that we have, our meetups where we meet up and literally just talk about a topic. And our last one just happened last month at the end of it. And I feel like the conversation was deep and meaningful.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, I left being like, I learned so much, but not in the sense of like, I learned and took notes and educated, but I felt like, wow, like I feel inspired and educated and like,
learned about other people's experiences.
Yeah, that also like gave me great perspective for something I'm going through. And I was like, this is what it's about. Like, this is what it's about, is that connection and learning from the people who are doing the stuff you want to do, or have had these really cool experiences. And when you're around people like that, your life gets elevated naturally.
Yeah.
And so we're going to be doing retreats and experiences as well as community. And that's the entire focus of Innate Women, is ultimately going back to its core that it's for women.
And I think we really took a step back and looked at, okay, even just in our lives, what are the focuses that really make us feel aligned, fulfilled, and happy in our lives? And one of them was obviously focusing on our mental, how would you explain, like our mindset when it comes to life, or
yeah. Well, okay. So an example would be like, if you look at a problem, you can say, oh my gosh, look how big of a problem. We just have to stop here. Like, that's our wall. That's a new barrier. Or it can be like, all right, well, let's figure out how to get around this, or over it, or through it. And then once you do that, you've gained new skills and information and an ability to maneuver differently through life. And so I think so many of the times we've been blessed enough to hit obstacles and go, well, how can we solve this, and keep going and be persistent? And I think a lot of it is what we do want. It's the mindset, but it's also that persistence and that drive and that willingness to keep showing up for yourself over and over again.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people might hear like mindset and be like, what is that? Like, how do you even do that? And I think it's a lot of like micro habits that we do regularly. Like every year we set goals for the year. Every morning we wake up and we have a routine of how to get us set for the day. You know, it's those little things that compound that I think make a huge difference when you're going throughout your day, whether you feel energized by what you're doing or like completely drained.
Also, having a clear why on what you're doing. Like, I think it's one thing to be going through life and being like, oh yeah, I do this because that's what we do, you know, and that's how most people end up going through life. But if you want something different, or a life that looks different, you have to be clear on what that looks like. So we also are exploring sort of like the philosophies of values and how to implement values into your life, because people be like, I have values. Of course, we all do. Even if you don't think you do, if you look at your actions, you have them. And it's like, but did you pick them? Are you choosing to work through them? Do you have the evidence that those values are your values? You know? So it's like somebody who might be like, I have integrity, but like when no one's looking, they're like not doing what they say they're going to do. Right. And so unless they're in front of people, so then we would say like, you don't have the evidence to have integrity. But it's just like really being accountable for that, and then showing up for yourself in a different way. And then we've also like, I feel like one of the values of Innate Women is these deeper topics of conversation that, you know, there's a lot of rah out there where you feel like, yeah, I'm inspired, but then you go home and you're like, well, how do I apply any of it? And most of it's not applicable. It's just feel good. And so what we're really working for is like applicable growth. Like, I don't want to come home and be like, okay, there's nothing for me to actually apply to my life other than like, I'm going to think that things are better. Like when you talk about mindset,
happier.
Yeah, I'm going to be happier, be more positive. But it's like, I think to be more positive, you have to also ask why you're being negative in the first place. Like that has to be taken care of. You can't just like pretend you don't have that side of you.
Right.
But it's just like you retrain your brain for that, but that's applicable things versus just be positive.
Yeah. And so these are things we've learned over years. Like it wasn't
oh my God, are we at the point of decades?
Decades for sure.
Oh, we're almost middle age. I did the math. Okay. It just is what it is.
It's fine. We're embracing it. but they're definitely skills, and they're like actionable habits. So we were like, this is not something we could have ever figured out on our own. We had to learn it from mentors, leaders over years,
and people who are doing it.
Let's share it.
Yeah.
So I would say innate women, like, obviously we're like, okay, mindset, what else? Health, 100%. That is a thread through everything in our lives. And I think now more than ever, women's health really needs a revamp.
Yeah. Well, I also think when you're living an aligned life, you're healthier.
Yes. So
because
I don't think
no one's ever like, you know, what I want in life is
illness.
I hope I'm ill often. So like when you are living an aligned life, you're going to have habits that
Mm-hmm.
do get you healthier.
So yeah, mindset, healthy lifestyle, and then professional fulfillment.
Yeah. And that can be usually
driven.
We say the people that are going to be attracted to us are going to be either in a leadership position in a business, or they are owning a business,
Mm-hmm.
or you want to do something a little bigger and more creative, because we go back to when you can create something and become like a leader in your own life, every aspect, especially professionally, like can change. And we spend so much time as women professionally, but still carry a lot of weight at home. And then we also carry, I think women have different experiences at work, but are still told that they don't.
Yeah.
So it's, this is a safe spot to be able to talk about your experiences. Like in our last meetup last month, talking about setting hours that actually work for you. Cause I say sometimes like the hours I inherited my family business are made for men.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I was not doing well with those hours. Like I was literally not thriving in life strictly because the hours didn't work for my biology. And I think having evidence of other women who were like, okay, well, I did hours that aligned for me. I still have wild success. And you also can do that. So it just helps us break free of these limiting beliefs of what we have to do, fit into this male world that many industries are built around,
mm-hmm.
and that we're able to thrive in women-centric
mm-hmm.
systems.
Yeah. I think that pretty much sums it up.
Yeah.
That's where innate women is now.
Yeah. That's leading up to present day. Here's where we are.
Here we are.
But the next step for us will be more retreats. The
mm-hmm.
meetups are every month. So you can find all of it on innatewomen.com. And the thing is like, sometimes people were watching from the sidelines and they're like, well, can I participate? Am I a part of it? Yeah, you're welcome. Like, you're really like, this is not, I feel like I was talking to someone who was in another space that was like mainly female entrepreneurs. And they were like, but it still felt like we were competing for who's most popular. And I was like, we're not
those girlies.
No, I feel like we're like, when you're our people, you're our people. Uh-huh. And like, there's a lot of equality, but there's also just like a lot of love to go around. Like, we really love people for their individualness and like who they are. So if you're like nervous or you're like, oh, like I hope I can like show up, like this is a very safe spot.
Mm-hmm.
And the events are not like rah, glam, bring out all your designer stuff. It's very much like getting inside to the core of who you are. It's very like,
we're looking
grounded.
For authentic, real connections and experiences. So you're going to get the authentic us, because if we didn't, you would tell, it would feel fake and cheesy. And
yeah, I mean, right now we're getting ready to go for a walk.
Yeah.
That's why we look like
here
this.
We are.
It is 6:30 or what? 6:30 when we started.
No makeup.
So. But we hope that you join us with Innate Women. And just know, if you ever are curious, you can join some of our stuff, all of our stuff, but feel free to reach out.
Yeah, we are, all of our accounts, we run them. So if you message us, we'll see it and we will respond to you, whether it's email, DM, whatever. And we're not so busy that we'd be like, oh, I don't have time for this message. No, we'd love to. Mm-hmm. Love to connect. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, thank you for joining us at the table. We'll see you next time.
Bye.